All right. I call this special town meeting, procedural defect meeting to order at 5:05. There is one warrant article, and I will read it, and we will go from there. To see if the town will vote to ratify the results of the March 12th, 2024 annual meeting, even though the proper budget form was not posted. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Did you a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? Well, we can go ahead and vote then. All those in favor, please raise your green yes cards. All those opposed, no cards. I believe we have a positive vote, so it passes. Motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty, thank you much, Mr. Moderator.
You stayed on that one.
You don't even have time to get refreshments.
I would like my card next year too.
That's right.
All right, we'll work on it.
Wish all town meetings were like this.
Push and privilege.
It's a magic trick.
Oh, you're not in town?
Sam.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you very much.
Sam.
You staying or you going?
Okay.
For the duration. Gonna move to the other,
Yeah,
the other,
I'm on all night long.
Or Sam for writing down the vote results.
if you want to say.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Did you email them and let them know?
I'm going to,
Okay.
she's coming. No, to here. Yeah, I have it written down. She's called, signed all three of them, she's gonna update it.
Alright.
The wife's
Yeah.
on.
Good, I'm glad. I'm gonna make up minutes, they're gonna approve minutes, and then there's fun here and all on.
This actually happened. This is historic. So exciting.
Enjoy your appointment.
Okay.
No, this was, Sam printed out just for that purpose,
Oh.
and be the check.
Why not?
That's the very top one, it just looks weird because it's, you know, with the other
Exactly.
one, that mark.
Oh, this one,
Because it
okay.
has
Oh, I thought it was all, okay. I'm with you now, thank you.
In our.
So we're already down to,
Number three.
number 3.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know that we need to archive.
So, you need to
that
open
top version.
your
yeah,
meeting
I was
When you're.
sort of waiting, yeah.
Art isn't scheduled till 5:15.
Yeah, so we got a few minutes.
Thank you supervisors of checklist for
Alright,
joining us.
we're.
Thank you.
So do you want us to turn the alarm on? No, cause I'm gonna go.
Okay, so it's not on now.
It's not
It's
on
not
now.
now, okay, good, thank you.
We didn't need the fire department and the police department.
Yeah, we'll do that.
We can see which police
not on.
officers out there.
It's been-
It's not on.
Alright, is it Ms. Kim?
Oh, that.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Alright, so I'll call our meeting to order at 5:09. Do we wanna maybe do department heads until, what are you thinking?
Yeah, they're not scheduled until 5:30.
Yeah,
John came in for the 5:15.
Yep.
But he can give his portion of his department head.
Well, we have David back,
good.
fingers working.
Is he healed up, John?
Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't bother, he doesn't
Very
bother to glove up, he just
Yeah.
goes.
Good.
Good. We'll see.
Yeah.
T5 went to Manchester for a little vacation, has come back to us, and AC now works. Any other problem? My COVID truck, the 550, had its little vacation to Capone, got its spark plug changed, it's back in the lineup. That's under warranty still, so that's all good.
Yeah.
P5 was a little expensive. Using the green grader as the Volvo has said enough.
Yeah.
I signed a contract with Pike. They'll be doing the Ayers Road culvert fix. And we'll patch it when they get done so we can plow it for the winter.
Yeah.
And then we'll pave it next year, repave and pave it.
Great.
So it should be done right.
Yeah.
We've been cleaning up Morrow a little bit, getting ready for paving, doing our shim, for our top over there. Roadside mowing is happening. They looking to be done about Thursday.
Is that our equipment that's got the big arm, the big mower arm that's going on?
No,
I didn't think so, but.
Chris comes in for us each year and, we have a budget line and that's what he's held to.
Okay.
He usually goes over, but he still only charges that budget line.
I was thinking the other day when I saw the mowing going on, is anybody checking to make sure nobody's mowing knotweed and spreading that all over town?
He's pretty good about the knotweed. Lewandowski over on New Road didn't want, a flowering hemlock mowed. He's trying to work with the state to do something along the roadside there. He's poisonous, very poisonous.
Oh,
Flowering hemlock?
Yeah, when you say hemlock, I think of trees,
Yeah.
no, it's,
flower that's about this tall. So I had Chris skip, if he saw it, so that he could do whatever he's gonna do.
yeah, the knotweed was my big concern, that that gets into the mower and then you mow somewhere else, it's just
Yeah,
one
it spreads, it just
spread
grows.
everywhere. Okay,
Yeah. No, he tries not to mow it.
okay, thank you.
Sooner or later, I go with the backhoe and I just lay it down. Because it becomes such an obstruction, like
Yeah,
Shaker Road.
Well, try to
Feel
go
like
down
you're in a
Lamprey in the middle of the
Yeah.
summer too, you can't, barely.
Once we get the viney weed all woven in, that's gonna be a penetrable barrier.
Thank you,
And
John.
Eversource okayed, GMI putting a top on schoolhouse.
Mm.
On schoolhouse, and we should be seeing a check from them. And then we'll, contract with GMI to get that done at some point. But
And they were doing
they're
logging.
They're logging up
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
so I'm not, I'd rather wait
Yeah.
if we can.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much what we're doing here.
Mhm.
When's our new grader coming?
I was told,
I
I was
hesitate
told
to ask.
it was coming to Londonderry June 12th, and then it got changed, it was coming to Port July 12th. And I haven't heard from Jeff.
Me either.
Okay, so it's still in transit?
Could be, if it's like the backhoe, it goes to Londonderry to be dealer prepped and whatever they gotta do. Probably put the snow equipment on and such. And we get the backhoe a month and a half after it went there.
Yeah.
So it'll be a bit,
We'll just wait till we hear from them, that's how it goes? Okay,
alright.
alright.
I got on my list to contact him on Wednesday, cause I was gonna check with John tonight to see if he heard from us.
Okay,
And before I came down here, I did look to see if I got an email, cause he surprised us a few times.
Right,
alrighty, well, then, it's in transit. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. What do you think? So we could do
you
Sam
can,
is
you
here.
can start signing stuff.
Okay, works for me.
Oh, well, Rachel's here. That's right,
Sam,
Rachel's here.
are you reporting tonight or?
Yeah, I guess so.
And Sam.
Yeah.
Sam, yeah.
Alright, why not Sam,
Rachel.
Rachel,
Rachel,
somebody?
No, Sam, no Rachel.
where's Sam?
No,
Rachel.
We'll get through that.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, let me flip to that agenda. Thank you. Our mid-year check is due. So I will be asking my trustees to write, that check so I can give that to Mary. I can give that to Mary probably this week. And to, remind you, that customarily at the end of June, early July, the Board of Trustees will give half of what they promised in the town budget. So it's that time. Speaking of budgets, I've noticed a huge increase in my consolidated
What do you mean by huge?
Wouldn't that, well, huge if your bill's $106 and then it's $180. So I called Consolidated, that's pretty huge for my little feeble budget.
Yeah.
So I called Consolidated and they said, oh no, we sent you a letter saying that our rates would go up. And of course, I'm sure they did, and I probably just didn't really read it. But I just didn't know, and I wanted to throw that out in what?
I got that letter,
You did get that letter?
I got that letter.
Yeah, well, I did too, I didn't.
Okay. I didn't,
So.
You got the letter on the town offices too? Oh.
yeah, I didn't realize
It was
it
really a
was
thing.
important for, sorry.
And I didn't either. And so when my bill came, I called and I said, we sent you a letter. Which, to be fair, we're kind of like desensitized to these letters and things are getting more expensive, because no kidding. But I just, in an age of an era of collaboration, I'm experiencing that. I am gonna run over on my telephone budget. And I'm sure the rest of the departments are going to too. And of course, it wasn't preventable, it was just fair warning. It's not like do this, this, and this, and your bill won't double. So I just wanted to throw that out.
Thanks for letting us know.
My pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity for the Right to Know seminar. I've acted on all those actionable points, or the ones that I deemed were actionable. So tonight I'm distributing new email addresses for my trustees. And I'm prohibiting the use of cell phones or discouraging it during public meetings. So thank you for that opportunity, and we have heard. Another great collaboration was I really appreciate being involved in the draft copy from the planning board of the plan for tomorrow. That felt really good to be included in that, and it really felt good because I had put all those hours in with hazard mitigation. So it's kind of
Wanna help me with the coop plan?
I don't, but what I did, and the other
She
thing I
says
did.
no, when I see her smiling,
Yeah.
You're gonna hear me later tonight, but it was nice because a lot of the words in that plan for tomorrow from Central New Hampshire Planning were in the plan for tomorrow. Like from hazard mitigation, there they were in the planning board, so I thought that was great, because sometimes you serve on these committees just because you're a good kid, but then you don't, you think, where is this really going? So, that was wonderful to be involved in that. And you're gonna hear me later tonight on another great collaboration. So stay tuned to that. Other than that, all systems go with summer reading. We have had to kind of move around our programs based on the fair. We're happy to do that. That seems like it's going fine. So, all's well.
all as well sounds good?
Yep,
All's well.
Thanks, Rachel.
And can I stay here till my next?
of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cause I'll be back.
Fairly cool.
We would not make you wait out on the curb.
Thank you. It's very hot outside.
Alright, looks like we have time for Sam then. Sam, you're gonna stay, I assume, also.
Yeah, I was staying for the very short
Yeah.
That's for everybody. See what those lists getting passed around. For 2 weeks out, I mean, we're doing pretty well with collecting for that first bill. Nobody really unexpected on the list. It's people that are just gonna wait and hold their ground until they need a reminder, so we'll get another reminder on the 1st of August. It says, let's go.
So that's when the next reminders go out, 1st of
Yeah,
August?
1st of August.
We missed a page.
Well, I think there's 3 of them. Yeah. It just keeps going on and on of all the people that haven't paid.
Gotcha.
We had 2 property owners pay up big liens, so that was good. So our lien list is getting smaller again, which is nice. otherwise things are quiet.
Very good.
Quiet is nice.
Town meeting is over, so we move past that. I guess the only other one to watch is that 2023 lean. Halfway down is Denise Murillo.
Yep.
And nobody's really sure what's happening with that property or who's in charge. I guess she's died.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Where's the property?
It's backland somewhere off
Okay.
of Clough Pond Road. So just left a mess and I guess nobody wants to pick up the pieces, so we shall see.
It's not a big amount due, is it?
No.
You know the size of the property even? Oh.
30 acres, 40
Okay.
acres, yeah.
It's-
So that one won't come up in next year's deeding, but.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Anything from anybody from Sam?
No.
No?
Thank you.
Alright,
Thanks, Sam.
cool.
Alright, I'll do a little signing while we're waiting. Alright.
I actually do have one question about this, just out of curiosity. Do any of these people ever come under the purview of our, what is the committee that you sit on for? Welfare, the welfare committee.
Oh, there's no committees.
I mean, just you, but I mean, do any of these ever get taken care of because we know they can?
People need to apply to the welfare office, and so I work on cases where people have applied.
Do we let people know that they can? I mean, does everybody realize that they can?
I don't know, I don't think we've really publicized the fact that we have a welfare department or welfare program, so I don't know, maybe in the future that is something we can talk to people about. But also, part of the welfare program is that the town can issue liens on your property if you accept funds from the town. So for people who are already on the lien and deeding list, it kind of doesn't, it's a little,
That's
we
not
have to
helpful.
discuss,
Yeah,
like, it
yeah,
doesn't really sound like it would be helpful,
Okay,
so.
I didn't know how that worked. Okay, thank you.
Alright, so why don't we do the accounts payable manifest in the amount of $36,052.09.
So moved.
And seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That always makes me nervous. Alright, pass to Cal so they can send a picture to Al.
2K. Alright, next is a payroll manifest in the amount of $53,591.16.
So moved.
And seconded.
All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Cal, you want that one signed?
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead, policy there.
It's in the old business folder, we could do that now if you want. It's left.
So, that's okay. While you're, I guess while we're talking about budgets right now, payroll and accounting, we've got the schedule for payments to the school district.
Yeah.
For the 24-25 school year, and it is $1,416,872 more than last year.
So did they give you a percentage that it went up?
No, I had sent a email to the school district.
Yeah.
And asked if they had any projections.
Yeah.
And that they don't have any projections on tax impact. They have to wait until September 1st. and then what our town valuations are.
Yep.
So we send that information, send that to DRA, and they set the tax rate. But based on the payment schedule that they gave us, it's $1.5 million more than what it was the previous school year. So, I just got that late this afternoon and I haven't had a chance to do any, crunching on that.
It's a very big number.
It is.
Really?
More to follow, I'm sure.
Yes.
Alright, Chief Crowdy? Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, so these are the questions that you had.
Oh, great,
So I made
thank you.
copies for everybody so they can follow along with
Thank you. I think I remember my own questions, but I do appreciate a copy.
it. Not a problem.
Thanks.
Thank you, Alright, and I did check the salt, it's working fine.
Great, thank you.
Alright, we'll start with the statistics. Need to share some. Too light for the arms, yeah.
Got too much equipment with arms.
Alright, so since the last selectmen meeting, we've had 11 incidents, 1 arrest, 112 citations, 691 calls for service, and state police responded to 11 calls for service orders. Training, we've had 8 hours of miscellaneous training for all the officers. I finished my firearms research training, and Deanna completed her CJIS online training so that she can take care of validations and everything for us.
Great.
And the only upcoming that I foresee is the Canterbury Fair next month.
If I remember, that's kind of all hands on deck.
Yeah, everybody will be.
Yeah.
On the second page, you have, we turned in our job description so you guys can look at that.
Yep.
That has some questions on, so we'll go through that. For the job description for the administration, so your question was taking preliminary reports, any special training needed, special format needed. So the only training she gets is training was by me, because that's all we had in Jan, because Jan was filling in, but Jan got her training from me.
Okay.
So it was kind of a learn by fire, because it's not my job, so I didn't know it very well either. We were calling other departments to learn from their administrators, and that's how we learn. But the only collecting of data is getting names, dates of birth, addresses, phone numbers. That's all pertinent information that we get for every call.
Okay,
And then basically just a gist of what's going on, so that we can fill the officer in that's going to that call on what they're looking at before they get there. So that's the only information that they need to get on any call that we go to.
okay, I didn't know if there was a special, like, there's a procedural form
No,
or
so-
something special, okay.
With the computer system we have, that's the information that it needs to create the call.
Okay, got it.
So she gets that information. It's the same thing for the next one, for receiving police assistance. Same thing, name.
So the thing is prompted through the
Yep.
system and,
Name,
okay,
date of birth, address, phone number, and what kind of service they need,
okay,
okay? Matron for female prisoners, what training's needed, is automatic schedule, how often is it needed? If you never needed it.
until you
sometimes
need
they-
it,
Right, until you need it. And all it is, let's just say I have a female that I arrest, and I have a van day shift and Deanna's there. We can have Deanna stand in the doorway so that the female can see her, so that if I have to pat her down and search her. But typically what we're gonna do is call Merrimack County and see if we can get a female deputy over here
okay,
to do that pat down. But if for some reason we can't get a female officer, we'll have Deanna stand in the doorway, just so that she can see another female there.
okay. I didn't know, so
Yeah,
you would use
There's no
something more
hands-on,
professional.
yes,
Okay.
yes, we'll try and get a police officer of some sort, a trooper, a deputy, something.
Got it.
Deanna would be the absolute last resort, just to have.
But does that need to, the reason I asked, I guess, is how is that covered in the job description? Because it makes it sound as if Deanna will be the matron for female prisoners, but what you just told us is different.
We put it there as a possibility, but again, it's just a presence, she's not doing anything.
Okay,
It's like you just.
so long as
sit
she's clear with that,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
okay, good.
Work with Merrimack County Attorney's Office, discovery subpoenas, et cetera. So all that is when we complete a report, Deanna puts in a shared drive that Merrimack County set up. So she says it's her desktop, puts it in a shared drive, and that's how they get it. So there's no legal repercussion to it. County calls us, says, hey, we need this report, and maybe a copy of the booking video.
Okay.
Dan will bring a copy, and I'll bring it over there, because we can't obviously throw that in mail. But the shared drive, it's all done through internet.
Okay, good.
Knowledge of street systems, town, so she did go ride around with Lieutenant Crockwell. But nowadays with computers, she's got Google Earth, she's got
Everything.
all of that right there, and IMC, if you open up a call for service, you can cross streets, and it'll tell you
Okay.
locations and everything.
I didn't know if you needed, a kind of a street knowledge of them. Okay, good.
Additional required qualifications, prior experience in legal.
It doesn't sound like, I was just
Yeah.
curious because of the subpoenas and everything else, but if that system's pretty prefab,
No,
then
it's
that should
all
be fine.
stuff that we can teach her.
Okay,
Work environment, do they need to sign a waiver? It's not a
Yes.
dangerous work environment, they have no contact with people, that window that, you haven't been up there yet?
yeah, no, I
There's a-
know the window.
Okay, there's a window there, she has no physical contact. with
It's
that.
just the way it was worded makes it sound as if the window was there, but other things might also happen that she needed to be aware of, but if
No.
that's,
No actual physical contact, no
Okay.
danger on her end. Chief of police, is there a schedule for a formal evaluation of staff or is it ongoing? In the past, we do evaluations at the end of the year.
and again, does that need to be documented, does that say anywhere?
No, it's just-
Evaluations,
in the
just
past,
do it,
We have, the chief, all the department heads do evaluations on their employees, and then they hand them over to me.
Okay.
I review them and sign them.
Okay.
If there's something that needs attention, then I discuss it with the department head, and if it needs further attention, I may discuss it with you.
so that's scheduled enough, that sounds pretty, yeah, thank you.
is there a requirement for continued professional development? There's no requirement. Well, there is for the law enforcement, so we have to do. So our high liability stuff, firearms, defensive tactics, use of force, those are mandatory every year. On top of that, the taser, baton, all that. On top of that, we also do 24 hours of additional training, and we do legal updates, because we have data law group. So it's an online training, and that's what you see on.
Well, that's what, under sergeant, it says current knowledge regarding laws, statutes, ordinances, that's that.
And we'll get to that, but
Okay.
so this officers training, 8 hours of miscellaneous training, that's the officers logging into Daigle Law Group and taking whatever they updated for, so that's federal. So if the Supreme Court made a decision on something to change the law, they get the update so that they're aware of it.
Okay,
So that's just the upgraded training that they get.
okay, thank you.
Patrol officer, minimum qualifications, possess or maintain certification by New Hampshire Police standards. So think of it this way, if you get hired as a base level somewhere and then you get promoted, you don't lose that skill. Right, it goes with you and then you
Yeah.
learn newer skills. Same thing, if you're a
Okay.
police officer and you become a sergeant, you don't lose those skills, you keep those skills, it's a requirement for the next
Okay,
grade that goes up.
that sounded like it is how it worked, I just wanted to make sure.
Thoroughly familiar with the patrol area, houses checked.
Same thing,
Field training program, that's one of the requirements. Remember when Officer Dewis came in here and we said he's
Yes.
going through field training program?
okay,
So that's part of the grading, is learning town driving.
so you're driving around with
Yeah,
an
they get
experienced
graded.
officer,
When he's driving me, I'll ask him what road he went.
Oh,
And he needs to
okay.
know where he is at all times, so, and he gets
Perfect.
graded on how he gets where he's going, he's using the fastest route.
so unlike Dan, he doesn't need, he needs to know.
He needs to know.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
For sergeant, as long as listed in the sergeant description that he must maintain current knowledge regarding law, statute, ordinances, it should be for every position, don't see this requirement for lieutenant or chief. Again, if you learn it as a sergeant, it's a requirement for higher ranks.
Okay. I think that was it
Yeah, that's it.
for me, thank you.
Alright, anybody else have questions on it?
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you.
I know Chief Gavash is out of town, so we're hearing from him.
I did not.
Have a nice day.
Alright, I see Art is here, we'll go back to that as well. Art, if you would. Thank you.
Can I have one of those back?
Oh, yeah.
So this seems to be only borough.
Road. Yeah.
Yes.
Did we had, how many roads did we have that we, identified as, there were like 6?
John, you got a list,
I
right?
gave you 7
Just,
different areas, we had talked about Morrow Road at a previous meeting.
Yeah.
Did I hear you say Borough Road?
Just this,
Just Borough.
yeah. John, do you have a copy of this?
do you want this out?
So I've received no list of the roads that you have done, but I did look at Borough Road and it seemed to me that more of a need, so that's why it's Borough.
That you've got that list, right?
Yeah, well, Art and I did go up and look at Borough and agreed that'd be a good place to start.
Okay.
But we need to, we
If you
need
have a
to,
list,
yeah,
you should send
I
it
have it,
out.
I'll get it to you.
And
Yeah.
just be done.
Yeah.
because what's the deadline that we need to, it's the end of the year, but
At the end of the year, we
specifically?
have to have a proposal in place, signed contract, so to speak, so we have to spend the money by the end of next year.
And by end, they consider December 31st end or, okay. And what was the total that we could spend?
We have 250
252?
something thousand, yeah.
Okay.
I have to, I'll have to look.
So the amount that you see written down there is for equipment, the operator. In addition to that, you would have costs for some dump truck time, some stone, and at the end of the day, any shimming of gravel that's needed on that road. So I had talked with the fellow that looked at it, and I mean, you're probably, in the ballpark figure, you're probably looking at another 24 to cover those items, so.
So 24, so it's actually 48.
And that's only Borough Road.
Which is helpful for Borough Road, but not for the rest of our problem.
Right.
Okay, well, step 1,
Yeah.
thank you.
Is this sections of Borough or
Now, that's the whole thing.
Old Tilton to,
Yeah. No. From where you turn off Old Tilton and going up Borough.
That should be specified here, which area this, I mean, to me, this isn't exactly complete, cause it should specify the exact portion of the road and the fact that there will be an additional $24,000 on top of this.
Well, 28 is out of my mind. It's not part of what this fellow's doing.
No, but it's handy to know
Yep,
if we're gonna try and make sure we have enough money to pay both of you.
you don't have to pay me anything.
Well, pay
Yeah, that.
the additional.
What's the schedule on something like this, Art? You know, you tell me when you wanna jump on it and I'll get it scheduled with the guy. Even we'll have to coordinate the trucks and.
We're gonna need something to pick the stuff up and throw it in the back of the truck, or is he bringing that?
No, he's, the equipment is part of it, he's gonna load the trucks and.
Are you, or is this person Rome Construction interested in looking at any of the other roads? Because
Oh,
this is just
Oh,
one.
no.
Okay.
We looked at a few, but I said, we'll start with Borough and we'll see how that goes, but. Yeah, I showed him a few roads, I don't know if they're the exact same roads that you have a list on, but a lot of them are just gonna require some time with the machine and shouldn't need any stone or anything, but
I mean, personally, I'd like to see the scope of everything before we start. If we've got a certain amount that we wanna spend on this project, to just define one bit of it without knowing what else.
I mean,
We don't know how to spend it,
yeah. And this essentially represents a third of what we have to spend. Which we're spending, almost 50,000, and we've got what, 160?
250.
Okay.
248.
Yeah.
Change.
But I agree with Beth, I think we need to look at the complete project.
so, give me the list
Okay.
of exactly the roads that concern you.
John, does your list contain the portions of the road that we want?
I had mapped it out.
I have,
Okay.
we have maps here.
Perfect.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Alright, so we'll certainly get that to you as soon as possible.
And this is good to know, but again, the two parts I see missing are the section of the road that this actually refers to and the fact that there's a possibility, even if it's not from Rome, that there will be another $24,000 included to make this finish.
I think that will be, now that I've mentioned it to me, I'm sure Ken will make a note of it, but, that's an estimate.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a number on the table, to use as an estimate.
But better to know that there's a possibility.
Yeah.
Another $24,000. Yeah,
Can we work that way? We need a firm number, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, if they wanna do it on an individual road basis, you can do it. There's nothing that says the money has to be spent all on one project.
Okay.
You could spend this money, this 24,000 plus materials on this road and then pick another road that you feel is a priority. And then you could spend some money on paving if that's what you wanted to do.
Right.
There's nothing that says the money has to be spent all on one project. I think we talked with the road agent about the need, and I know dirt roads has been an issue, and we kinda went back and forth. Originally, we had planned on using it for broadband expansion, but Comcast has agreed to do that. So, we decided to go with the dirt roads. Using it on one project is easier because of the paperwork.
Yeah.
The required record keeping from the federal government.
are 6 roads considered one project?
It could be, yeah, yeah, if
So long as
you
it's all going
decide,
through the highway
yeah,
department?
if you decided to take these on an individual basis, that wouldn't be a big paperwork load. It's all, a lot of it is the same, so you just have to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
So,
Alright. And John, do you agree that Borough is where we should start?
Different roads, they all need work.
Okay, but
John had listed Baptist Hill, Borough, Briar Bush, Foster, Morrell, Oxbow Pond, and Pickard.
okay, in order of,
That was not in any particular order, those are just roads in there.
No, I was just trying to give you some idea where 240,000 disappeared real quick.
Yeah,
And that was
I think
just,
we can all agree
that
on
was
that.
just, my list was just adding some gravel to the top, not changing the road. I think Baptist Hill was the change at Caswell's, we were building up
Okay, yeah,
for visibility.
alright,
so if we can figure out how to, which one of those roads can best divvy up to equal 252, whatever,
Well, I
our best guess anyway.
probably the way to proceed is I'll get this information to Art, and he can get it to the contractor and see what he comes back with prices on the other roads.
yeah,
And then,
we may need to make some adjustments.
well, yeah, and probably you're gonna have to decide, cause this is just equipment work.
Right.
Yep, this doesn't include any material,
Yeah.
any fuel costs for our trucks or anything like that. Flaggers, traffic control, anything like that. So we would have to talk with John and figure out, in his contract, and figure out what material might need to be added, and come up with some estimates, and then
Yeah.
come up with a ballpark on each road, and then go from there.
And you think that Rome can handle everything that we might have?
Right,
Thanks,
get the
Great.
start
Yeah.
on Wednesday.
thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tough job for him, because, I talked with, Omni, who I know, and
Yeah.
the problem is the logistics of mobilizing and demobilizing for him, and, it's tough for him. But Rome is a much smaller outfit, so he's getting the knowledge and the machine to use.
Well, one would think that if he's got, 6-road project to look at versus a 1-road project, that would be a nice chunk of work.
Oh, yeah, no, and I explained to him, that I drove a few of the roads back to Hill and a few of the others and said, this is what we, you've got the list, we'll use the list.
Sounds good.
Ready?
All right, thank you. Appreciate your time, sir.
You're welcome. Thanks, Yep.
Ready for Howard?
I think so.
I think so too.
Thank you. Can we bring as many as 4 chairs up here?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Unless Tom can stand. If you want to, that's fine.
Thanks, John.
So, we are here as a subcommittee of the Canterbury Community Power Committee, plus Mrs. Baker from the library. And there are 5 members of that subcommittee. Myself, Lenora, Tom Franco, Cheryl Franco, and Kent Westwick as the select board representative. So what you're gonna hear from us tonight is a presentation by the Generation Subcommittee of the Canterbury Community Power Committee. And I'm here just to do the introductions. These other folks are gonna do most of the talking. But I wanna say at the outset that we don't need any commitments from you all tonight. What we need, if you're willing to give it to us, is an okay, a go-ahead to continue working toward completing as many as 3, that'll depend on you, as many as 3 draft applications for grants for municipal solar projects that need to be submitted to the Department of Energy, the New Hampshire Department of Energy, to access federal funds, and those applications need to go in by August 1st. Now, you all won't be meeting again until the first Monday in August. But we are preparing draft applications that, when they are completed and you've approved them, would need to be signed on behalf of the town, because it would be the town that would be applying for these grants. So we're assuming that either Ken, as the town administrator, or one of the 3 of you, or maybe more than one, maybe Ken and one of you, will do the signing, but that won't come until toward the end of July. We want
This July.
this July. Yes. Let me back up a second. We have basically been scrambling to pull this together since June 21st, about 3 weeks ago. And we have 2 more weeks to complete it. So you can think of this as an interim presentation, but we've got a fair amount of detail to go over with you. Lenore is going to talk to you about where the money might come from. She's the expert on federal funding. She's done a lot of research on federal grants that are available through the IRA, the Infrastructure Act. I don't think you got into the CHIPS Act yet, but that may come. Tom is our technical expert on the details of how these projects might fit together. And he will walk you through a series of slides. He's got 11 slides to show you. We are, in all candor, most excited about the last of those 11 slides. So I'm not gonna say anything more about it now. We're gonna let Tom and Rachel talk about that at the end of our presentation. And we understand that we might have until about 6:20, if that works. We would like to leave some room.
Okay, 6:20 it is. Now it says 6:20, so.
We would like to leave some room at the end for discussion, okay? So I'm gonna turn it over now to Lenore and Tom to start the slides.
Lenore first.
Okay, so this grant is federal funds coming down through the New Hampshire Department of Energy. And it's available to Canterbury is one of what they call tier 2 towns. And they've divided all the towns into 2 tiers based on how many people in the town are disadvantaged. We don't have enough to be in tier 1. So tier 2 towns that have a maximum of 120,000 we can apply for. And these grants are handed out on a competitive basis. So each of the applications is scored. Every question that's answered gets a score, and so we have to really complete the applications before they get thrown out. So this grant would pay for a 60 kilowatt solar array, and the town will see immediate payback. No waiting on this, which is pretty nice. And the town electricity requirement on 6 municipal buildings would be 90 to 100% covered at a savings of about 12, maybe as much as 15,000 a year. And so also the grant will help us to continue toward converting to 100% renewable energy by, we're saying 2034.
Lenore, could you back up one second? What did you
Sure.
say the current need is of the buildings?
Right now, it's about $12,000 worth of electricity. Tom,
Yeah, it's about 66 megawatts per year for all 6 buildings.
Okay. So the timeline, I mean, it's very tight, we know that. Applications are due August 1st. The grants are gonna be awarded in October. We would take this to the town meeting in March, assuming that we win the grant. The project would go out to bid right after town meeting. Work would begin as soon as possible in the spring after town meeting. And all of the work has to be completed by September of 2026. So we're talking about a 1-year construction process beginning in mid-2025, going through September 2026. But all the expenses would have to be paid upfront by the town, and then they would be reimbursed by the state within 60 days of a paid bill, submitting a paid bill. There's also a tax credit connected with this. When the feds passed the Inflation Reduction Act, they made allowance for a method where towns, state government, not-for-profits can actually get a tax credit. So the town would get the work done and fill out a form at the end of the year saying what it costs, it would be just like a tax return, sent into IRS, and by sometime in the spring, the payment would come from the IRS for that 30% tax credit. This is brand new, so I don't know that anybody in town, I don't know, Ken, have you ever worked on this year at all? No, so it's all new.
And can I interrupt for half a second, because I hear Cal typing madly over there. Is everything that you're telling us, are you reading from a document that you have that you
should have a copy of this document
Oh, okay.
right
All
in
right,
your
so-
packets. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that.
No, that's right, I didn't realize that we could look at that.
Okay, so our goal tonight is really just to have you review all of these proposals and help us decide what to do and approve our submission of a grant application or more than one maybe.
Not our application,
Your
the town's
application,
application.
right, sorry.
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna turn it over to Tom, who's really done a lot of the research on all the technical aspects. And he can answer all of those questions better than I can.
So we looked at a bunch of sites in town, and there's more than I'm listing here, but we whittled it down to 3 that are ideal, or at least 2 of them are ideal, the other one is,
We'll see.
we'll see. So the first one is roof mount on the police building, because we were told we couldn't use the highway department or the fire department building roof, and they're not oriented correctly for solar anyway. So with the police building and a little bit of the connector building, we could actually provide pretty much all the power needed for all the town buildings. So that's one site. The other site is the library, and we're pretty much using all of the roof on the library, the rear flat part and some of the front, to fit everything on that roof. And again, that would provide for all 6 buildings in town. It's a 60 kilowatt system. And then we have, the last one, is a solar canopy, which would go next to the library over the parking lot. And, you know, we see that as benefiting multiple, people in town. And we're gonna have, Rachel talk about that in a second. But basically, any of these projects will provide 100% of the power for the buildings. And that's the goal of the grant. You have to try to provide 100 to 125% to get enough points to win the grant. So we're fitting right into that sweet spot.
So Tom, is this an all or nothing, or are we picking one of the 3 sites?
There's nothing in the grant RFP that says we can't submit all 3.
Okay,
So it'd be 3 separate applications.
understood, which is what we're going to
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Okay, I understand that.
Yep. And so the first 2 sites, the initial cost would be about 170K, give or take. But in any case, that falls within the grant application of 120 plus the 30% that would be rebated. So it's 0 cost to the town in the end. And it's gonna save the town $300,000 in electricity over the next 20-25 years.
But we have to float the 170 up front.
Yes, but it would all come back within,
Starting in mid 2025.
Is that doable? Economically, in the town coffers, to float that kind of money? Is a big question, but wait, there's more. I've got more questions too, so.
I think the dollar aspect is doable. I don't know the legalities of it. That would be something we would check. Because it seems to me that this may, if you're gonna spend $170,000 out of town funds, that may have to be approved by the voters somehow.
That's what I was thinking at first, that was first thought.
But that, we can check with that.
yeah.
And it would have to be approved by the voters anyway,
It
at
would.
town
Yeah.
meeting.
It would.
But it's not a spend so much, it's a short-term loan, that's what it is.
Right,
But does
but
town
again,
meeting
Yeah, I
fit
know.
into this?
Department of Revenue Administration
I know.
has certain rules.
But does town meeting figure into this, what seems to be a very tight timeline that you're talking about?
All the towns that are applying pretty much.
Yeah,
have to
they're
go
all
to
tied to
meeting.
town meetings approval. So the grant will get approved if it does in October, but we gotta wait till the spring to get the town to approve.
Right.
I'm gonna suggest that we let them finish their
Yeah.
presentation and ask
Yep.
questions.
Yes, cause I've
Okay.
got like six more
Yeah,
questions,
we've
and I
only
will
got
wait.
like 18 minutes left.
So this is just a picture and the cost of the police building, and you can see the connector building has solar on it, right through here. So there's quite a few panels. It's around 140 solar panels that, to cover this. And then this one is not 170, it comes up to 154. I just lumped them all into that 170 category. So we're gonna get 120 from the grant, and then 46 would be put out before the tax credit comes back. And then site 2 is the library, and you can see we're filling that up too with the same number of panels. The cost there is a little higher, or yeah, a little bit higher. But they're all coming in around the same. And then we have the favorite. This is the parking canopy. So if you look here, this is the library right here, the other town buildings. This square we drew out is a rough spot where we would put a canopy or a, what I call a white shaker barn. So we'll just go through the choices and see what appeals and what doesn't appeal.
Do you wanna talk about the cost there, Tom, just to mention that?
Yeah, the cost here is much higher because we're putting up a building.
Except we're not calling it a building on a grant.
Right.
It's not a building, it's a roof, basically.
Well, and also the numbers that you're seeing there are completely pulled out of my head.
Okay.
There's no truth to them, we just had to put something down, and we're waiting for some more accurate numbers that we'll be getting hopefully in the next few years.
So about 300,000 of that is real.
Yeah,
And the last 100,000, we kind of made up. So that's one of the more modern designs for it. It's basically a curved top that goes over the whole area. And it still allows for parking and, the farmer's market, and the library to use. And then we have idea number 2, which is pretty similar, just has a little bit different structure to it. This could be the library here, just giving you a viewpoint. And so since I'm mentioning the library, I'm gonna have Rachel talk for a few minutes.
Excellent. So keep in mind, it was last Thursday when I got an early morning call, that a group of people wanted to talk to me. And keep in mind, at that moment, I was right out this back door. You were probably in here. And we were doing one of our 392 annual programs annually. This being part of our summer reading program, which this year's theme is Find Adventure in Your Library. And our motivation for this program and quite a few of our other programs are to get people outdoors. So keep in mind that this lovely group sat on the porch and waited for me while I directed about 37 children with my staff through a summer reading program in 92-degree heat thereabouts. So imagine my delight when we moved inside to the conference room, and first of all, I realized why they were coming to me, but second of all, was that when they produced that slide and idea number 3 and more that you will see, ultimately exciting. Because I will remind you that earlier this year in January, I went to the Energy Committee just to muster a little, just to muster a little interest, maybe a lot of help in getting a grant. Because keep in mind, my furnace is 21 years old and I've had the 3 different heating companies give me different, different estimates, all based on solar power, doing mini split or commercial heat pump. So more than a third of my programs are outside, and as you know, I utilize heavily the town hall. I heavily utilize this building as well. Just because we have a very, very vibrant library, and we have a very robust programming schedule. In addition to that, we have these wonderful collaborations with the farmers market, with the garden club, with the solid waste, doing an outdoor compost fundraiser. The biggest one really being the farmers market. So the real motivation to have this pavilion or to have solar panels on the roof is that, keep in mind, all of these programs, not just around Earth Day, are encouraging young people to engage in renewable and sustainable energy sources. So one of 2 things can happen. I can really, walk the walk if I have a full panel array on my library or in a pavilion. And conversely, if a child comes, mostly Canterbury children, comes from a home that's solar powered, they may ask me, Mrs. Baker, why don't you? So we're getting into an age where children know what we're supposed to be doing, and we're either teaching them this is the way to go, or they're asking us, why aren't you doing this? So that's a more emotional piece. Very often I'm struggling to find room. You know that, the 392 programs. Say for instance with the book sale in the town hall, I can't have Ty Gagney. I have 110 RSVPs on Ty Gagney alone. I don't know where I'm gonna put it. Say for instance, I had an outdoor space. Now, there's no mystery that I've come to you and planted the seed that I'm gonna need some kind of expansion. In the 2004 blueprint that's available, it's in the town office, it's in my office. The building needs committee wrote on the actual blueprint, future expansion, which we've talked about, which would be an expansion between these 2 buildings. I am far less likely to ask for that kind of building if I had an outdoor pavilion, because it's not just the library benefiting from that space. It could be all the people that use an un-air conditioned town hall. Imagine if we had a pavilion, and the group has a lot more to share on that, but I cannot impress on you the enthusiasm that I have. This clicks a lot of check marks for libraries in the state of New Hampshire. Because we're living right now in this age of collaboration. And look at what's going on with the store, the farmers market, all sorts of things. If the library could provide, or the town could provide, an outdoor pavilion space, instead of you putting air conditioning on the town hall, we can have large fans, because 100% of our energy is utilized there. So you know that I could go on, but what I wanna leave you with is my enthusiasm and my engagement and my support of this program.
We'll hear more from you later in a minute.
Yeah, don't go.
All right, so back to the ideas. Third idea is smaller canopies over parking spaces and multiples of them. So that's one idea, and here's another one. More modern, artistic looking, may or may not fit in the realm of what people would want to see. And then idea number 5 is basically a traditional shaker style barn, but we need a south facing roof, and it's all open on the sides. Still leaves in here 24 feet for cars passing and then enough space to park both sides like they do now underneath. And obviously, depending how big it is, there's room for tables and whatever block off parking spaces to work underneath there for meetings. And it's really a 3-season space for everything. No more walking farmers markets in the rain, we can just stay.
And it would be a 4-season space for purposes of solar energy generation.
Yes.
Because you have a south-facing roof there, that the panels would go on.
So, I mean, Howard can talk more, but we did talk to someone in town today, Fifield, that loves timber frame buildings. And, you know, he's coming up with ideas. We threw some requirements or, you know, what our wants and needs would be, and he's gonna go off and take a look at that. But he's excited about it.
This conversation has been going on for just a little over 24 hours.
Non-stop.
So that is all the ideas that we have for the applications, and really it's, you know, we're asking your permission to fill out the applications. That's what we're trying to do.
There's one thing that we might talk about, because I'm sure it's on your minds, and that is how you'd handle the difference in cost between the first two projects, which in our minds are not no-brainers, because they don't involve town funds except for that 60-day period when you're waiting for reimbursement. Any of those 5 ideas for the pavilion over the parking lot will be considerably more expensive. And we're at the very beginning of thinking about how we might pay for that. Because it would almost certainly have to involve some form of town funding. But it seems to us that it doesn't need necessarily to involve a tax increase to residents. Because one option to do that might be a municipal bond to cover the $150,000 or $200,000 between the $120,000 solar grant and the credit and the rest of it. A municipal bond like that, we think, this is all the beginning of a conversation, but we think that it could very well end up being paid entirely out of a combination between the discretionary reserves, which you all approved in your last meeting in June, the 3rd meeting in a row, and after the first couple of years, we think there's gonna be more money coming in the form of our allocated share of the joint reserves that are being built up through CPCNH, the coalition. So there may be issues there. I don't pretend to be an expert on municipal finance.
So you're saying some of the money from our 2 mil adder would go in that fund?
Exactly. We understand that based on the residential default energy load in Canterbury that is being served between Eversource customers and Unitil customers, those discretionary reserves are gonna start adding up at a rate of about $14,000 to $15,000 a year. So let's just say that the first payment on a municipal bond was somewhere around $12,000 or $15,000 a year. I don't know what it would be, I haven't done the numbers. But we'd have that the first year. We'd have a similar amount the second year, and by the 3rd year, we might very well be into our allocated share of excess joint reserves, in addition to the discretionary reserves, which will keep accumulating as long as you all are comfortable adding a 2 mil adder to our default energy rate.
Even more, which we talked about at the meeting last time, that you could actually raise that a little bit with this in mind, if this is something that you think should happen.
So would any of these projects or all these projects require HDC approval?
If you give us the go-ahead tonight to keep going, to keep working on the draft grant application and filling in the details, getting more specifics on costs, all these things. If you give us the go-ahead to keep doing that tonight, especially with respect, well, I shouldn't say especially, with respect to number 5 as well as, the third option, but basically idea number 5 on the third option. Then we've already talked with Kevin Bray, we told him we'll be wanting to come see him on Wednesday night. I don't know what the HCC is gonna say. I think they would be more interested, frankly, in the last of these ideas that Tom has shown up here, rather than the more modern, curved pavilions. But we're gonna have to deal with everybody.
Right.
I will tell you this, Steve Fifield was pretty excited about the idea of a timber frame shaker featured barn without walls, but a roof that works for solar generation.
Do we have time for our questions now?
Sure.
A few minutes.
A few minutes?
Yes.
I have two short ones. First, what happens to all the solar that we currently have in town? Does this
Keeps going.
replace all of that? Is the energy needs that you're scoping out for 66 megawatts for all 6 buildings on top of what our current
Yeah.
solar array is currently generating?
The actual usage in town is about 77 megawatts, and the current panels, it's hard to get from 2023 because they weren't operating the whole time, but I kind of extrapolated, and it looks like they're covering about 10 megawatts per year.
And is that the maximum that they can do?
I don't know.
Since they're currently not arranged and
Well, they're
tilted and-
15 years old, so they've degraded a little bit. So we're probably only getting 80% out of them. And I have to add them all up to see what that would peak at. But it could be a little more than that.
Okay.
But in either
So we would
case,
keep those, but this, everything that you're talking about is in addition to what we already
yes,
have.
yes.
How does this work in with the fact that these arrays are currently feeding our grid? And I
This-
believe that these can't be
They
combined.
have to go through a separate meter.
So what does that mean as far as,
Well, we had a
we've already got
couple of-
giant panels and buildings, what
We
is
had a
this?
couple of ideas there. One is to remove the library's net meter before we submit the final bid for the project. Those panels' power would move back up to another building and be net metered there. So then the library or the
Without
parking,
physically moving the panels, you can just.
So,
Just
in short,
reassign the
basically, the new system would be on a separate net meter. Either in a building or even outside.
Is there any provision in any of this for upgrading, maintaining, making sure that they are to code? And who's ever going to be managing the new system is going to be looking and taking care of the old system as well?
Yeah, maintenance is included in this grant application. We have to
For the
detail
old
it.
as well as new?
No,
No, not
Okay,
for the old.
So you're hands off on old.
Some, right now, we're not focused on the old, although, we've heard comments like, move them, get rid of them, they're crooked. Those are the
Well,
comments I've heard.
They are, but that would be, I would think, part of ongoing maintenance that we haven't really had
Right,
done. It would be nice if somehow we could figure that into, I mean, it's a
we can't cover that.
As far
No,
as
I
the
know.
grant goes, you can't include any expansion or maintenance for an old
But your committee
system.
is hands off on it as well, correct?
Maybe once, if we can get this grant, maybe at some point we can talk about what else we could do,
Yeah.
and do and all of that.
We have a lot of other generation projects we're thinking about besides this one.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, I'm just thinking about taking care of the generation project we already have.
Yeah,
Okay,
We
my
can-
second quick question is, while the idea of an open pavilion over the library parking lot sounds wicked cool, how the heck do you plow around it when we've already got problems with plows digging, ripping, missing, and whatevering things? And this would, I assume, be a very nice pavilion
Well,
or
there-
an electronic canopy that you wouldn't want dinged or run into by a plow. And
I mean, there'd be
taking off my
no,
select board and putting on my farmer's market hat, how do we get all our trucks under there to park?
there'd be no plowing in there, cause there wouldn't be any snow in it.
And there's no snow, thanks to Ken, there's no snow there anymore.
And we're at the end of the parking
We're
lot,
at the
so
end of the
it's,
parking
there's nothing,
Okay,
covered.
they wouldn't even have to plow around it.
Right,
No.
so it's
Just let
just
it-
clearing in
Right.
front like they would in a garage
But
type
you wouldn't
situation.
then be able to park in all those spaces in the winter for an event like we do now because you're
Oh,
not
yes, you
plowing.
would.
Oh, yeah, because
It's kind
Yeah,
of,
it's
Right.
covered.
Yeah.
Okay, and what about the shade trees that were nicely planted down the side of the,
you mean my feeble attempt to provide shade with 2 trees?
well,
They're fine. I mean, they're off the side,
they're not,
they're still.
they're not going to shade that.
They're not gonna shade that.
no.
Okay.
And they're still young enough, we can move them, right?
if need be.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Let me say at this point, if you have any inclination to want more information from us after we get some of these questions better answered, we'd be happy to come back. We'd be happy in the meantime to be sending you information by email, which would avoid a meeting. But if you want another meeting with us, we'd be happy to come back anytime during that last week in July before we have to actually sign off, before you would actually have to sign off on the grant applications.
It almost seems like I'd rather come to one of your meetings and have you come in here because we're busy with a zillion other things. And I still have a lot of questions that are not going to be able to
We
be
don't
answered
blame
here.
you.
We don't blame you.
Under a
Yeah.
short timeline, which you're working under too.
And what I'm
Yeah.
working under is I told my trustees for their 6 o'clock meeting that it was in their best interest that they start their meeting late, right? So this is so new
Yeah,
that my trustees don't even know,
okay.
right?
I have one question. Did you guys investigate, putting panels on the transfer station roof at all?
Yeah, we did. I shouldn't say I shouldn't say we investigated it. We talked about it, and the general feeling was that you'd have to rebuild the building to support a weight that would have to be put on the roof.
Yeah,
The trusses aren't,
the grant allows for no structural improvements.
the trusses aren't, of that building aren't strong enough to hold it.
Right,
That's why the
Well,
pavilion.
we've done an aluminum roof up there, which isn't gonna be conducive to hitching anything onto. I think it's set on top of purlins.
Question, yeah.
And Tom, you're comfortable that the public safety center and the library roofs will support the weight?
yes,
And
I'm not comfortable, but we had 3 solar companies look at.
Understood, yeah,
Yeah.
experts, yeah. But you're comfortable with their answers, I
Yes,
guess is the
yes.
question.
And even if the pavilion didn't get built at this time, if we did panels on both the safety building and the entirety of the library as you showed, that would still cover 100% of the need that you see.
Yes,
And then the pavilion would be just in addition to that.
well, we would do one of the 3 for the grant.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
doubt,
Yeah.
I doubt that.
Any of those 3 would cover all the needs for the town.
Oh, either, not public safety and library together,
Right.
but public safety by itself,
Right,
library itself, or shed by itself.
we wanna
Okay.
apply for all 3, cause we might get more points on one of them than the other and win one versus the other.
There's aesthetic benefits to this in terms of community involvement that having written grants, feds are really interested in a good story.
Yeah, they are.
They're really interested in community involvement, they're really interested in underserved populations, they're really interested in the emotional part of it. So a structure in the style of our current center, plus a nod to our Shaker heritage, is where we get the most excited, and thus the feds get most excited. But again, like Howard said, all you need to decide tonight is, should we go forward?
And we need to answer the question of, if we go forward, how we in effect, can we front the money?
But even that doesn't have to be decided until we win the grant. If we don't win the,
Yeah, I get what you're saying,
But what a shame to win the grant and not be able to fund the money, that would be not fun.
yeah, that would not be good either.
Please check with town council.
Yeah,
Well, I think we would work hard
I
to
think that's
find,
exactly what we're doing.
Pardon?
we would work hard to find a way,
Yeah,
you know?
but still.
So, I guess, question,
I have to get
You're
to
all
my
set.
trustees,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
who would be the best,
You have, you have much information.
best person that I would contact about the details of the grant? So as far as timing and funds availability and all that.
Why don't you come through me, but I'm gonna be talking every day between now and the end of August with these two guys.
Yeah, we're,
And Mrs. Baker.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because I'm gonna need some dates and hard dates and things like that.
Yeah,
So I can check into it, determine, when money has to be appropriated and all that.
yeah. No, shoot them to me,
Okay.
but you can either copy Tom and Lenore,
Alright,
or I will get
Alright.
it out to them and to Rachel
Yeah.
as soon as I get it from you.
and so,
So, select board, what do you think about?
I think it's a great idea if we could qualify for the money. I honestly can't imagine how the town meetings would react. That's another day.
That's it, that's
Well,
another-
it's, if it doesn't, again, if we're fronting the money but getting it back, if there's a way to do it and it's not going to make the tax bill, which is already ran out, people upset.
As I mentioned earlier tonight, school budget is going up.
Yeah, so if this can be done without affecting that, the timing doesn't seem great to ask for a lot of money, but if it's, again, something that's short-term that can be done, that we're guaranteed to get paid back and has benefits in bigger senses for the town, that's an easier sell. I would say if saying yes tonight is a yes to, please continue to investigate this as thoroughly and enthusiastically as you have been, then why not? This is not committing us to any of these projects, it's just giving us the information and
It's
saying,
gonna
yes,
be in your
keep
hands
looking.
eventually, but we'd
Yeah.
like to do the best job we can of putting something in your hands that's worth more than what we have tonight.
so you feel all three we should move ahead on, or are one or two of them more?
Why not all three?
If you're doing, I would say one, as you say, whatever, you don't know what you're going to get, it doesn't, no harm, no foul
Right.
to go for all three, correct?
Okay, yeah.
And it doesn't again, commit us to any one of the three, you're still
Right.
applying, so. I don't see a problem with that.
Okay,
And when is your next meeting and can we come if we want?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Our next full committee meeting is going to be the third Tuesday in August.
but that's too late,
That's too late.
so we should.
So we should arrange a different meeting, and we will do that.
Just let us know, 'cause yeah, I mean, if it's appropriate to come, I'd like to come and get information while it's coming out instead of getting
We would love
it
to have you come.
Yes.
It might,
here in front of me and not having a minute to read it and decide.
Right, we would love-
it might be a subcommittee meeting to which we would invite everybody else on the full committee, but also the select board and the town administrator and the assistant administrator.
Okay.
So one other thing to bear in mind, if we get all three applications, actually get them completed, we're gonna need a letter from the group, the select board saying,
You
for
support
each-
this.
Yeah, for each one, that you support the application, not a hard thing to do, but just so you know.
And there's no application fee, or is
No.
there?
No.
Okay.
And the
One would hope
letters,
not.
the letters are more for points. It's all point-based, so the
Yeah.
more letters of recommendation we have from the town or anybody else at the library, the more points we get.
Oh, interesting,
Yeah.
okay.
I think we just need to answer the question of is this legal? Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
Thank you,
And
folks.
thank you for all the work you have put into this, all of this.
Good night all.
And this is great, thank you for the packet of information and all the pictures and everything.
Yep.
This is great. Great.
Sam. Welcome back.
Oh. Twenty 2027 is going to be here sooner than we recognize or realize,
Yep.
as 2024 is already half over.
Yeah.
So where are we with the discussion about the tricentennial celebration?
Are we anywhere?
No.
We need a tricentennial celebration
We
in
need a
2027.
I sent you all links to.
You did.
A link
Yeah.
to, no,
Somebody else,
Yep.
past Northwood, that's
Somewhere
okay.
that way.
towards the traffic circle.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Nottingham,
Nottingham.
Nottingham.
That's it. Yeah, no, that's.
Are we trying to do some sort of theme, or what do you think?
We really need to start with making sure there's gonna be money in 25, 26, and 27 budgets. And somebody needs to call together a committee
Yeah.
to actually plan this thing, so it's not the historical society and it's not the board of selectmen, it's gonna be a third independent entity to actually run this thing for the town.
Yeah.
Capital T town.
So how much money are we thinking, I guess?
That's gonna be up for the committee, I think. I think that the way that I'm looking at it, a little bit of money in 25,
Yeah.
a little bit more money in 26, and then more money in 27.
Yeah.
I don't really know, because the committee hasn't been for, nobody's even really done research yet, what that's gonna take, what kind of seed money they need to start to get fundraising.
Yeah.
What they're gonna need for, I don't know, parade or fireworks or
Right.
presentations or presenters or
Yeah.
activities,
Suffice to say, no drone
no drone,
display
no drone displays,
at $200,000, no.
no.
Do you have any idea of people who you think would be interested in to be on the committee, or who have?
The historical society's indicated that somebody or some of them will be interested in being on it,
Very good.
but they are not interested in running it as the head organizer, so they're very interested, but so that's what they're waiting for, is somebody else to say, let's do this.
Do we need to start advertising?
When we wrote the history book, we did the general call, and it was that first meeting of just who's interested,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
wants to go, who wants to
Yeah.
talk about this.
Yeah.
And it was very loose, kind of open forum for people to kind of shoot ideas and see what people wanted to do.
Yeah.
First, the idea was presented, and then the group was kind of formed after that.
So are we better off waiting until after school starts back?
And people are back in town
People are
and,
back in town from vacations
and the fair is over,
and the fair's over, right? But I'm also thinking of.
and before the holidays.
Right, but I'm also thinking of what's on the select board's plate. We still have several big things.
The newsletter is doing an August, September edition.
And the deadline is tomorrow. So that can
Yes.
easily,
So we can put something in that,
Yeah.
call out, where selectmen are interested in forming a committee.
Yeah.
If you're interested, please contact the town office.
Yeah.
I would
I
assume
think that's a
that.
good start.
Okay.
yeah, and then once we've collected names, we can come up with a date and then just email the people who've
Yeah.
weighed in.
And then probably we could, so that would be the August, September edition. So we could probably put something out in the town email, first of August, middle of August, something like that. To coincide with the publishing of the newsletter.
Yeah.
And then have the meeting like the first week in October?
So that would probably be good.
Gilmanton is 2027 as well, and they formed their town organization back in March.
Oh, yeah, well,
So they've already started this process.
yeah, I would think it's gonna take at least all of next year to get it organized, because you wanna start events in 2027.
In 20, yeah,
Wait,
2026,
this is 24. Yeah. Okay.
Plan in
Get my years
25, yeah.
We typically have the budget committee in the first meeting of September. Yep. To go over this past year's budget or this year's budget, as well as any potential expenses for next year's budget. That's usually a pretty busy meeting.
Yeah.
Maybe that we say the second selectmen's meeting in September would be a good time. Unless you wanted to call a special meeting to try and get a group of people together, anybody that has contacted us or whatever.
Do we need to have anybody who's interested in this committee come into an actual select board meeting? Versus just loosely meeting first and then making some sort of presentation at a meeting?
That's completely up to you guys how you wanna do it.
It seems like having a bunch of people together to brainstorm stuff and then coming up with some sort of plan and then coming into a meeting as opposed to trying to do that in the middle of a meeting.
And so I could,
Yeah, makes more sense to me, have
I agree.
those people meet separately at some point.
So you need somebody to run that first meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this where we all need to
Since you
sign out
guys,
Sam?
since you guys are the ones that are gonna be appointing the committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would probably have to be one of you at least
Yeah.
to chair that meeting.
All right, I'll volunteer. That's your-
Second.
With the, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
with the hope of.
Oh, it took me so long.
That was slow, kid.
Oh, that's yeah, but
I know,
does that mean we can come too?
of course, that's
Okay,
what I'm
good.
hoping.
No, I wanna come too.
Yeah.
I promise I will bring up the road.
Yeah, because it, as I think what Sam is telling us is this is gonna be a big project.
Should be a
Yeah,
big
it
project.
should be a big project.
So,
If we can let it-
If you look at the link to the website that I gave you,
Yeah,
you can do anything up to and more than what they did in Nottingham.
yeah,
They had, they created a history book, which the town has already more or less done.
yeah,
But they created pamphlets and they had celebrations, and it was a 3-day event, I believe. Or a 2-day event.
okay.
These are sort of patriotic things, aren't they, in a sense? I mean, if we, how about if we tied it into the 4th of July with our fireworks,
You could do
last
that.
day or?
You could do
That's
that.
the question, I mean, do you have a calendar of events that's
Not a
all
bad
year
idea.
long?
well, that's already
Do
going
you
on,
have,
yeah.
do you have a 4th of July that's big, and you have
Yeah.
Memorial Day that's got 2 or 3 speakers instead, and do you have end of August barbecue cookout with bean supper?
No, there's also a
Combination.
special fair,
It
there's a
could be,
Canterbury
You do
fair,
something
at the
special
fair,
fair,
that might be a
you
big
know?
draw there too.
compared to having like a 3-day old home day weekend that.
But you could do all over the whole summer.
Smaller,
Yeah.
fair. And it might not be a bad idea to have people from those various committees come and give their ideas,
Yeah.
as well as somebody like, Don and Jim Miller, who are used to running events. There are other people in town who have run events.
Yeah.
That we could ask.
Sounds good.
But if we put out a call, so what's our timeline then? Put something in the,
So I have to put something in the newsletter tomorrow,
Right.
as far as asking for volunteers.
do you want me to write that
Interested.
and run that by you? Cause I'm putting in
Sure.
farmer's market stuff tonight anyway,
Sure.
so I'll do that.
Alright.
And I'll run that by you in the morning.
Alright, cool, that sounds
Does
good.
everybody need to look at it, or can I just say,
I think if you and Ken agree on it,
It's just a
yeah,
asking for
Yeah.
people that might be interested in participating.
right.
tricentennial?
Anything else, Sam?
When are we gonna say that they will meet though? Are we
Date?
just gonna say, we're going to say send emails to,
I would say send emails to Cal or myself,
Yeah, then we can
give
schedule,
us, give them 2 emails.
yeah,
and
And then-
schedule a meeting in September?
I can make a new alias that's like
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
three hundred
tricentennial,
numbers,
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
tricentennial at canterbury.gov, something like that.
Yep.
sounds good.
alias. I just have to make sure we all spell tricentennial.
Spell it right now,
Spell check.
tricentennial. One N first and then two N's.
Yeah, TRICENTENNIAL.
What do you wanna call it, tricentennial 2027 or?
I'm just gonna do tricentennial at Canterbury.
Okay. Great. Thank
Yep.
you.
Put it on the-
Well, just coming to you.
Yeah, cause you don't want.
Well, they're gonna come to us.
They're gonna go to somebody.
Right.
Meetings, alright.
Alright.
Okay.
Questions otherwise?
You can be the honorary chairman or?
No, I'm not gonna be
Huh?
chairman, I'll be there.
Alright.
Bob Scarpone will be there too, but he won't be chairman either.
No,
That's interesting.
Alright.
We'll all be
We'll figure it out.
present.
Yeah.
Yeah, was that?
But you'll input historical,
Yeah,
remarks,
historical
yeah.
people come.
historical
Historians
documentation,
will come
perfect,
Sounds good.
and see where we go.
alrighty.
Cool, thank you.
Appreciate
Alright.
you.
Thanks, Sam. Okay.
Alright. So we've signed. Previous minutes approval?
So I got one suggested change from Beth on line 67. It says the select board decided that Wyven Road is private. Beth suggested changing it to the select board decided that Wyven Road in its entirety is a private road.
Because there was a lot of discussion at that point from Kathy
North
Yao,
and south.
asking for a very particular definition do we mean the entire road? And the answer is yes, and I think that's an important part of the discussion.
Yeah, I think that's a point that I agree with.
Cause
I do too.
yeah, so if anybody needs the timestamp of, I wanna go look at the meeting, I have that for Cal.
Yeah, because somebody, years in the future, may be going back through our minutes.
Yeah.
Well, years in the future, maybe weeks in the future,
Well, that
quite
too.
frankly,
Yeah.
so to me, that's important to have that clear.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think that's an
And that was my
important
only change.
So whoever makes the motion, please make a
Yep.
motion to approve as amended.
I would make that motion to approve as amended to say, that Wyven Road in its entirety is a private road.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright. New business. Let's see.
Now that I know what the CRSW is, thank
What
you.
is it?
Aha,
With Beth?
it's the Concord Regional Solid Waste, correct?
Nice.
Yes.
Yep.
So this is.
So there's an annual meeting, they have a meeting every year to go over the budget, and anything that's come up. The budget has not changed hardly at all since last year.
Okay.
I typically attend one of these. The town of Canterbury actually has 5 votes. Typically, there's either 1 or 2, myself and the transfer station manager in the past have attended.
Yeah.
The only thing that's really different this year, something that has changed this year is, the regional, the co-op, as it's shortly called, owns 40 acres of property out behind the mill grader.
Yeah.
Incinerator. And, the co-op, signed a purchase and sales agreement with a group that wanted to purchase that property several years ago. And that sale has not gone through because of the infrastructure needs of Whitney Road that the city has not made yet. But that group has been paying the co-op. And they're actually being represented by a new management team. And they are offering now, they were paying $10,000 a month to go towards the price of the purchase. They've bumped that up to $12,000 a month. So this new proposal has to be approved. So,
And that's in the city, right?
that's in the city of Concord.
Yeah,
Right, the co-op owns the property, it's
Yeah.
city of Concord
Yeah.
land, but
right,
Canterbury is part of the co-op.
understood, right, right.
So, we go to the co-op meeting and then we approve the
Yeah.
transfer.
Do you need or want a select board member to go?
We haven't had in the past, if somebody wants to attend, they certainly can attend.
I kinda wanna go.
It's at 1 o'clock on a Wednesday.
If I can do it before
at
the
the
meeting,
Boulders
I mean,
or-
before the farmer's market?
Yeah, you should attend, I would think,
Yeah.
those meetings
It's
don't
an
last.
it's an open meeting, it
Yeah,
usually goes for about an hour.
yeah, so you should.
Yeah. Try my best.
Alright,
I will say yes.
okay. Anything further on that?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Alright, so moving on, next item, Shaker Village property taxes.
Yes, so in the fall of 2023, myself, our assessor and our code enforcement building inspector did a tour of Shaker Village. During that tour, the assessor found some buildings that she felt no longer qualified to be tax exempt. Went back and forth, investigated it, looked at different DRA rules and laws and everything. And subsequently, we issued a couple of tax bills to the Shaker Village, in the amount of $7,009. They have, given us a payment in lieu of taxes for $2,000 pretty much every year for many years. We got a letter saying that they wanted to appeal the taxes. But they also sent us a check for $5,000, which was not the $7,000 it's due now. But in their thought it was the $2,000 payment with taxes plus the $7,000, plus the $5,000 check. Unfortunately, the payment in lieu of taxes goes into the general fund, it does not offset taxes. So right now, they're $2,000 in arrears. But they're gonna appeal it, they sent a letter, our assessor is reviewing the letter and is gonna give a presentation to you in August, the first meeting in August, for you to decide whether to abate the taxes and any interest and penalties.
So they've been paying like 2,000 in taxes, this 7,009 is on top of that for the additional buildings?
They have been paying a payment in lieu of taxes,
Okay.
of $2,000 every year for, I don't know, 12, 15 years,
Okay.
something like that, maybe longer. I know it's been going on since I've been here, which is just over 10 years.
Okay.
And then they sent a check for $5,000 because their tax bill was $7,000. And they felt that the 5,000 plus the 2,000 pilot would make up the
Got it.
7,000.
Okay,
But
but they're
that's
two
not how
different
it
things.
works.
Yeah, okay, got it. Alright,
The math works, but not the way where the checks go.
yeah, okay,
So, but again, our assessor's gonna give a presentation on August 5th to you guys so you can determine and we'll get copies of their abatement requests and everything, so. Alright?
Sounds
thank
good.
you.
We also have, under old business, it's not listed here, is the, I think it's in the old business folder, is the, the policy, special detail policy for the fire department. It now matches, or it is a fire police special detail
Yeah.
policy.
Right,
So we just need you guys to go ahead and sign it.
okay,
Basically, the fire department one now is part of that policy, so all the rates are the same for both departments.
okay.
And this we approved the last meeting, this is just.
You
the-
guys,
yeah.
right, talked about this in the last one.
Yeah.
So we literally just signed, correct.
I do wanna see like the actual word changes, though, that's in the red.
Yeah. Pass that along with it in case anybody wants to look.
Right, it just makes it so that it goes, instead of police officer, it says emergency services. Instead of police, it says each department, it's just making the grammar match, so it goes for both.
Yeah.
Chief of each department.
I think I put August first as a effective date. Or was it today?
Revised July 15th, as of August 1st.
So we start again.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
Ready, that.
Thank you. Alright, Ken, I know it's not on the agenda, but under old business, can we just briefly talk about Comcast and where, I know you've had some communication with them.
So, they are continuing the wiring of the town. And I think I explained at the last meeting that once all the wiring gets done, they're gonna send a test signal. And if that test signal comes back okay, then they're gonna start the process of moving forward to like their individual houses. There have been some questions about there hasn't been activity on some roads. And so what they're doing now is what they call pole preparation, which means stringing new cable where it needs to be strung. But in some cases, the poles are ready for cable, and in cases where there may be a short dead-end dirt road or a short dead-end road where there may be 4 poles that need cable, they're not gonna run, and maybe 1 or 2 houses up there. They won't run the cable up that road until they get commitments from the customers to sign up for cable.
Alright,
They're not gonna put infrastructure in someplace where, again, in a short road that the customers don't, or potential customers aren't interested. In the future, if some customer wanted it, then they would work on that, but there may be some roads in town that haven't seen some activity. But again, if they're small roads with 1 or 2 houses on it, you may not see that until the sales teams comes out and confirms with the people on the road
that
that
makes
they
sense.
want service.
Okay.
One question that I actually was asked yesterday that I hadn't even thought about. What about households where everybody is away during the day working and no one will be there on the sales?
So they're gonna leave door hangers on
Very good.
and ask to get a hold of, and there'll be a email address and phone numbers for people to contact them to talk to them about
Very good.
signing up. Brian Christensen is gonna, I think he's coming to the next meeting on August 5th, for any further questions that you might have. So hopefully, and again, they have been around, they were all down in the center.
Yeah.
So, it is, they did experience some, the new buzzword, supply chain issues.
Okay.
So they're running about a month behind. But they are still targeting the town and, have all intents and purposes. I did sign up for the
Bead challenge?
bead challenge.
Yes, that was my question, yay, alright.
So that is, another, tranche of federal dollars that is gonna become available to the state.
Cool.
And,
Would you like
basically,
the dramatic reading of their purpose?
if you want to,
The
please.
goal of the challenge is to create a master list of locations eligible for BEAD funding by determining unserved and underserved locations in the state. BEAD is broadband equity, access, and deployment, which sounds
Cool.
good.
So basically, we will be able to, when I sign up for it,
Great,
we will be able to go in and look at the list of households that are served in Canterbury. And if we have a difference of opinion, we can challenge that.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
yeah, it's interesting, cause if you go to the link, and you put in 03224, up pops like the houses and the addresses that. Though what I wasn't sure I was looking at is if they were the houses that were served or were not served. I think they were the not served houses.
I'd have to look at it, I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
logged it, I
I just
signed up for it, but I
couple
haven't
minutes.
logged in
Yeah.
to check, to see what the work is, yes.
Okay, good, I'm glad, thank you for signing up for that, cause I was in my inbox and then I was like,
Yes. And I did talk to Brian about it, I told him I signed up for it, and he said that's a good idea. He said, they're 99.9% sure they have all the residences, and he said, well, this is a good way to know.
Right,
So,
and as long as the, you know, if somebody did fall between the cracks, as long as they're willing to take care of it.
Yeah.
It works.
great.
Alright, last item on the agenda, prior employee's failure to reimburse town for tuition.
yes, we had a contract with an employee that, for tuition to a CDL school. They did not fulfill the terms of the contract, subsequently they owe us approximately $3,700. We have sent letters, we sent a registered return receipt letter, and that was acknowledged, we got the card back, so they did receive the letter. They received a letter in their last paycheck, reminding them that they owed the town money. I spoke to the individual and at that time, and they said that they were going to repay the town. We have not received any information back from them. I'd like to hand this off to our attorney to see what they feel that we should do our next step. Whether it's our attorney sending them a letter, or going right to small claims court or whatever, but I'd like to hand this off to our attorney.
Seems like a reasonable course of action to me.
And that does, if they've already acknowledged that they owe the money, said they were gonna pay and haven't.
Yep.
Yes, you've got the card right there,
I do?
Yeah.
alrighty,
I have a couple of items that are, I guess they're new business. One is Stephanie Jackson called today, and she would like to purchase an air conditioner window unit for the town hall. It's really hot in there, they're setting up
for
for
like
the
the book sale,
book sale, and she'd like to purchase a air conditioner for the window air conditioner to put in the town hall, to help them cool things off a little bit. I told her I'd have to run that by you guys, as far as installing it and all that. I know when we had temporary facilities over there, when we were building the new building, we did have some window air conditioners. I think we had 4, and it did keep the place cool.
I was gonna say one doesn't
I
seem
don't
like
know
it.
what one is going to do, so I just wanted to run that by you guys first to see how you felt about it. And then
And those
she's-
windows are,
the windows are difficult to open and close. We had to set up some insulation, temporary insulation around them and everything like that, so it's not just a matter of sliding open a double hung window and
well, I know
installing
those
air conditioning.
smaller, well, there's two things, the smaller air conditioner, the room standing ones with the pipe, and then you just put the pipe through,
Right.
so you only have to open the window this
Right.
far.
Right.
A lot of people are pleased with those.
Yeah.
And somebody I know just bought, like, what do they call it, a U-shaped, it's like it goes over the sill. It's an air conditioner that's got the bulk of it is sitting out, it doesn't balance so precariously like a lot of them do. It's got a channel in it, so you lift it up, the fan part is in, the rest of the compressor is outside, but it sits over the sill, so it's very secure. And so you don't have to, it holds itself in a lot
Never
better,
seen this.
but I don't know the
It's not an air conditioner though, it's a heat pump. Effectively.
Gotcha,
Like they're like $3,000, I'm looking at one right now.
gotcha.
No, I don't, well, the one that I'm talking about is not that, because my friend in Connecticut bought one and she did not spend $3,000 on it, or whatever it is. She called it an air conditioner, not a heat pump. She wouldn't spend that
It
kind of
works
money.
as an air conditioner, but it also works as a heat pump.
Okay, but it wasn't $3,000, her, the one she spent was a couple $100, but who knows what it was, what brand, and if it's, anyway,
Yeah, how many square, feet, any idea?
I'm just wondering about if we should set some fans up in there rather than trying to air condition.
Well, there are fans in
there's
there.
like 10 fans in there, cause
There are
like 5 of
fans
them are
in there.
mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I'd run it by you guys
Yeah.
first.
I just
See.
can't see it being
Well,
effective.
the town fund, but if she wants to pay for it, yes, I don't see where it's gonna make much
Yeah.
difference in there.
But I'm just thinking electricity costs, now we're dealing with electricity costs and you're gonna be running an air conditioner full tilt in there to try, they're gonna have to keep it going night and day to make any difference, even if it does. I can't see it. I have got 4 of those fans that you put in windows that pull air out, that I'd be willing to bring over there for her, cause that'll help more, I think. And those don't draw any power. I've got them up in my garage, but I'll happily donate them to the book people, to keep them from melting. But an air conditioner, can you see it? I mean, it's, first of all, it's so high, one air conditioner, it's gonna be hot all day, they're gonna be in there a couple hours. I can't see it.
I think we had 4 when
Yeah.
But you have people in there all the time too that just, I'm just thinking that just in cases of,
Well, that's the other consideration. You know, if you're running it all day, then.
Doors gonna be open, people are gonna be in and out,
Yeah.
windows
Yeah.
are gonna be open, I'm
Yeah,
betting,
exactly.
I think you and I tried a couple of them open on that.
we did.
Yeah.
We did.
so it's not happy, but the fans have got, they're better than not, but I just can't see. I think she'd be wasting her money and be just, the electricity cost would be huge for not much benefit.
I agree.
But I'll happily talk to Stephanie and say I've got the extra window fans that I will,
Yeah,
um,
I know her heart's in the right place.
Yep,
Yeah.
of course, when it's 90 degrees out, what do you suck air in or blow it out? What do you, it's 110 in the building and 90 degrees
Right.
outside, what's the mechanics?
Yeah,
This is where I need Chris.
yeah, exactly.
But,
so 2 things that are, I guess, they're new business. We have correspondence from a company called Eagle Land USA. They're out of Poughkeepsie, New York, and they are offering to buy a piece of town-owned property, which is, it's a 30-acre parcel over on Route 106 that the town accepted as a donated from a family that they did not want anymore. It's valued right now on our tax card at $138,000.
let me guess, wait, they're offering 32.
Nope, they're offering $114,000,
Really?
171, 42 for the 30-acre parcel. It's over there next to the track. Ken, that's a piece that you went over and looked at before we took it.
That's swampy, yeah.
To do
I
what?
remember that.
Swampy, then it goes up.
Right, I remember, yeah.
They asked for there's a form here, and they ask that, let's see, there's a deadline on this.
Week. Sorry.
It's energy.
They're not supposed to be meeting tonight.
Then, oh yeah, acceptance, the agreement will only be valid if the seller signs the agreement, returns to the buyer, by, August 10th. So you have until August 10th. You have a meeting on August 5th. We can get you the tax card, a history on it, and you can look
I'd
at
be more
it.
interested in knowing the history of this company,
And that, I was gonna say, I could
because
certainly
I've been
investigate,
getting, I've
I
got
can
a,
investigate the company and,
yeah,
look at it and try and.
I've been getting, the reason I said jokingly 32,000, I wasn't really joking. The 6-acre parcel next to me, I've gotten no less than 6 letters over the course of the year, people just, here, sign this and we'll send you $20,000 on your $85,000 piece of property.
Yeah.
So, I hesitate.
Well, I'll put this in the file for the 5th and do some investigation into it and then go from there.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
And then we,
Returning these.
Yes.
and then we have been replacing the flag on the flagpole every year.
Yeah.
And the, these fans,
They said fans for bandstand. Oh, yeah, I guess the little,
oh, the bunting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The red, white, and blue bunting.
Yep.
And Dale Caswell's been buying that, we've been reimbursing him.
Yep.
Sam said that, suggested that we solicit donations for that, because in other towns, that's what they do.
Yep.
For replacement of town flags and things like that. So I think it's more because I think Dale might not want to do this for the next however long.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can certainly put something in the newsletter asking for donations for it and saying it's around $200, and if someone feels that they'd like to donate, then they could do that.
Okay.
Do we have a mechanism for accepting donations? As
Well-
NHMA went through a whole thing on
Yes,
how
so
to set up the town to be able to accept donations.
any money that comes in like this, unless if we do not have a fund specifically set up for this, goes into the general fund.
Legally, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For something like this small, I don't know that we would say we're gonna set up a special fund. There's two ways you can do it, you can accept donations, set up a special fund and accept donations. Or you can have the person buy the item.
Yeah.
And then donate the item to the town.
Oh, got it.
And that way, that money goes specifically to that item.
But
If-
they're donating an item, but they're still expending the money.
They're
Opposed to-
expending the money, they're buying the item and handing it off to the town.
Okay, but they would have donated the money anyway.
They would have donated the money. If they just donate the money to the town, it's not a tax write-off, it's not, unless we have a special fund set up for it, which we don't.
Do we have something though for patriotic, like Fourth of July with
We
bunting
have,
and
we have a
flags
line
or-
item, we have a budget line item for patriotic purposes,
So,
which is the Memorial Day and Fourth of July.
and flags couldn't be considered patriotic?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But we'd have to have a special fund set up for that, to
Oh.
accept the money,
Oh, got it.
an income fund, so.
Well, that's what, I was talking with Sam about for the tricentennials, that we're going to have that set up for
Yes.
that,
Yes.
for fundraising.
Similar to what
Okay.
similar to what the Historical Society did, they set up a separate 501c3
Yes,
for donations for the town history. So we would have to do something similar.
but if we could have somebody donate, buy bunting and donate it, yay,
Correct.
okay.
So I'll take care of that, I just wanna. give you
I'll put the
this.
tricentennial thing in, and if you put the flag and bunting thing in, how about that? Okay, good, that's a deal.
Alright, we still have that personnel matter to discuss.
We have a personal matter that I'd like to go into executive session.
Okay.
I will make a motion that we go into executive session for the purposes of personnel.
So moved.
And seconded,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye. Thank you, Edgar.
Thank you, Edgar.